Hi everyone, it's Zach with Palantir Research. We've got huge news today for Palantir winning a massive $250 million contract. Plus, Bank of America continues to release more info on why they are bullish on Palantir. So let's just get into it. First, the deal with the Army. This is a $250 million contract firm fixed price, and that's to conduct R&D services for artificial intelligence and machine learning. The completion date is scheduled for September 25, 2026, so it's a 3-year contract, which is around $80 million a year or $20 million a quarter. Now, the significance of this deal is that it's an AI deal, meaning this further legitimizes Palantir as an AI business who actually brings in revenue from doing AI. So it's awesome news to see here and hope to get more updates or maybe new contracts in the future. Now, next is Bank of America. They're continuing to keep their buy rating and price target of $18 here. And with all of the events happening for Palantir recently, they had to give more on their thoughts on why they continue to stay bullish, with defense especially being the big emphasis for them, and they lay out their argument here. Bank of America attended Software for Government, or S4G, and that summit happened not too long ago, and said there were around 300 attendants there between the public and private sector, which is actually a lot more than I expected considering it's the first one. This showcase basically had Palantir showing as an opportunity, especially for the DoD and its modernization efforts, and we saw some sneak peeks actually there that Palantir is working on that mixed reality headset from the summit. That was in the background of one of the interviews. Also, with demand continuing to grow from the DoD themselves, they see Palantir increasingly becoming one of the only or one of the few choices to serve their needs, considering they're an expensive product, but still they're being able to draw in these customers at high prices. So Bank of America is very happy with that. They note that the Air Force colonel here, who actually was quoted as saying they would actually go to bat for Palantir if they were going to be on the chopping block there. So basically, it sounds like the DoD sees Palantir as a quality product that makes their jobs easier. And if there's a competitor out there advertising themselves in a way, they think that they're usually exaggerating it when they're comparing it to Palantir. Now, Palantir will benefit too from the stovepipe DoD, or you can think of it as silos, which basically means that there's an opportunity for Palantir to help the DoD become more interconnected, interoperable, because of these different silos, right? And those were built out before. And as technology becomes more of the focus for the military in general, being able to work together and tie this stuff, they bring up the JADC2 project, of course, that remains to be a priority there because it's going to build up their networks, of course, between all the branches, meaning that they're able to work together more efficiently and not do double work too. And they can also leverage the information from other branches that they're collecting, better picture overall. Now, Palantir also has numerable use cases across the government as showcased at the summit. The big ones they noted were nuclear security and then all the way to drones. And that's going to be connected from the Air Force's replicator program as well. So next, the DoD has its own solutions that can work too, but they are limited when they're comparing it to Palantir and their performance. They bring up a platform that they developed called Advana, which does combine data and analytics over 1,200 systems, so it's a very large one here with 80,000 users. But apparently it's not user-friendly and very labor-intensive to actually get results from. Basically, there's a lot of maintenance as well and digging from data scientists, so it is kind of disconnected from end users. And it sounds like these end users do have to rely on them as middlemen then to actually get value out of the system and then get something that's useful to them as an output. Essentially, it sounds like a cumbersome system that is getting more complicated over time here, and it does take a learning curve to actually be useful for users, while Palantir sounds like it's much more quicker to hit the ground running and bring value there really quickly. So Palantir's strategy overall for the government with their Palantir Government Web Services, PGWS, it's about to help scale customers looking to win government contracts overall. And they also talk about the 3 products here. You might be familiar with a lot of them. Apollo first, so multiple use cases, of course. You got Lockheed Martin, Anduril, and Cisco using it. And Cisco actually presented at the first AIP Con before that their use cases of Apollo, deploying that software across different countries' governments with different timings also in a seamless manner. But then FedStart, this one's also huge, which allows startups to operate in an IL certified manner, and this is without actually doing much themselves, and winning government contracts and being able to actually perform the obligations. So in comparison to a typical investment, it costs millions of dollars as well as a lot of time and labor and following the rules to get your own IL certification for yourself. So Palantir's program has massive value because you don't have to do that at all, and you can basically start up super quick in a couple months rather than having to go through it for years. Then they got Ontology Software Development Kit, or SDK. So for governments, this is of course going to be huge, but any organization as well. Disparate data sources have always been an issue when getting the full picture and getting the right information. SDK is how Palantir is going to provide creating an ontology yourself basically in the data in a very easy way, and being able to connect your data easily in a secure manner while keeping those relationships there. So the main value is this: not only that your data is all connected, but if you are doing something on one end, the other side of the system also knows what's happening. So as you can tell, all these combined or even just parts and pieces shows that Palantir can really bring value to an organization, even if they don't have everything from Palantir. Next, we have Witchcraft, and that's buried in a small blog post as well when I actually covered that very briefly before, but it was an internal tool that Palantir had, and they're going to be releasing it to be open source. And the best part of this is that it's already compatible with Apollo and FedStart, meaning that whenever a customer wants to adopt this, they don't have to worry about the integration that much. Witchcraft is going to help in authentication and authorization controls, of course, and secure cross-partner sharing and user group management here, so a lot of it is based on the security end. Bank of America continues to see the light for Palantir as a bright spot for the business. Defense is there, in their opinion, going to be adopting AI much quicker. And they compared this to healthcare and insurance, which do tend to be very conservative or very slow when they're going to do technology or implement it at their organizations. On top of releasing this news and thoughts from Bank of America with the $250 million contract, I'm not surprised they are still giving this opinion to the public, and it just goes to show that Palantir's business, in the government at least, seems to be their bread and butter still. The seeds, in my opinion, appear to be sown in defense, and we're just waiting to see more of this trickle onto their financials over time here. Now, even if the $250 million is spread over 3 years, these kind of contracts add up and bring stability to shareholders. That's one of the reasons why people like these government contracts, because of the predictability. But what are your thoughts on all this? I know there was a lot to cover with Bank of America especially. Thank you all for watching, and thank you to my channel members, and I'll see you in the next video.